Hi, my name is Dr. Peter Kay, and this is the next session in the Heat Transfer Power and the Environment module. And this session, as you can see, is on emissions from combustion. Okay, so by the end of this session, you should be able to do the following. So you should be able to describe how unwanted emissions are formed, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. Understand the health and environmental impact of the emissions. Okay, it's obviously quite important and in the news, quite current at the minute in the news. Describe how these the amount of emissions are released from a combustion system changeable equivalence ratio. Also, we expect you to be able to calculate the air-to-fuel ratio based on emissions, and I'll show you a good method for doing that later. And finally, to be able to broadly discuss UK policy on reducing emissions. Okay, so principally, combustion chemistry is very complex, and so up till now, we've in the previous session where I talked about combustion, we said that you have a hydrocarbon, and that reacts with oxygen, and it gives you carbon dioxide and water. Well, that's what you want to happen, and strictly speaking, that's true. But there's lots of reaction steps that the fuel needs to go through to complete that reaction. So, remember, if we take CH4, simplest alkane, methane, that will produce carbon dioxide, and you can see the green arrows show the shortest route. Shortest reaction steps you need to get to carbon dioxide. But this is what has to happen for methane to react with oxygen to give you carbon dioxide. First, you've got to strip one of the hydrogens off, then it reacts with one of the oxygens, and you lose another hydrogen, and so on and so on. But you could see that it could actually take any of these pathways linked by these arrows. All of these potential pathways are possible. So, unsurprisingly, it's I wouldn't expect you to remember this, but just want to illustrate how complex the chemistry of combustion is. So, given its complexity, it's no wonder that we end up with unwanted products or emissions that, and some of them are obviously harmful to our health. So, I just wanted to show you this to illustrate how complex it is. So some of the products that we end up with that are undesirable, carbon monoxide, so that's obviously not CO2, just CO. Unburnt hydrocarbons, so basically fuel that hasn't burnt. Particulate matter, obviously that's soot, but kind of described in the industry as, or in the sector as particulate matter. Nitrogen oxides, so the X could be a 1 or a 2, so that covers nitrogen oxide, NO and NO2. And also sulfur dioxide, but that tends to be more from a power generation side of things rather than an automotive or transportation side. Okay, and so in the next sessions we'll talk about how these are formed and how they can be controlled.